Hi, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. First off today, I'd like to thank feedspot.com for nominating us in the top 50 best narcissistic blogs on the planet. Now, we've come in number 9th, and I was really excited about that. Thank you very much, Feedspot. Now, in the next tile, you'll see our medal. We won a medal. The channel would be absolutely nothing without you guys, so thank you so much. Thank you for all your subscriptions. We're almost at 10,000. Thank you so much for all your comments and all your likes and shares. I really appreciate it. Now, as you guys know, I've always believed that the domestic narcissistic abuse that we've experienced is a trickle-down effect from a much, much greater evil. So I guess the domestic narcissistic abuse that we've experienced is more of a symptom of a greater cancer, a bigger cancer, and I want to talk about that today. Of course, here at this channel, everybody's wide awake, absolutely wide awake, enlightened, critically thinking, and knows exactly what's going on. But I do find on a daily basis, I encounter people who really don't understand that they are part of a massive global agenda to truly destroy humanity. And for those of you who really want to just kind of jump in and say, oh, I'm exaggerating, well, you know what? Do a little research, and once you've done that research, I will leave some links below. Then feel free to chime in. But I think until you're really aware of what you're dealing with, you may not want to just jump in and tell me I need a tinfoil hat, because the agendas are real. The United Nations agendas 21, 30, and 50 can be seen at their website. They are really there. They're real. They're not figments of my imagination or anyone else's. And taking a look at those might give you a better understanding of what's actually happening in the world today. Because, my God, there's a shit show underway.
And for the international order that we have worked for generations to build. Ordinary men and women are too small-minded to govern their own affairs. That order and progress can only come when individuals surrender their rights to an all-powerful sovereign.
Isn't that scary? Average men and women just too stupid to manage their own affairs.
For us, the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order.
There's a need for a new world order.
1989, President Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
So what are some of the things that this new world order hopes to achieve? Well, one, of course, we're all well aware of the Georgia Guidestones and the Human Depopulation Plan. There actually is a global agenda to reduce the human population from almost 8 billion to 500 million. One world military, one world police force, one world government, one world religion. And if you've seen what's happening in Europe, you've kind of grasped that. Total abolishment of land and home ownership. A radical reduction in our freedom of speech. And here in Canada, that can very clearly be seen in the recently passing of Bill M103. Children becoming property of the state, as you can see very clearly here in Canada in Bill 89. The relentless poisoning and dumbing down of humanity as a result of the chemtrails, the mandated vaccines, the list goes on and on and on. Now, if you are just kind of waking up to this reality, it can be a little bit frightening, but the truth is, and will always be, there is strength in knowledge. There's power in knowledge. The mass dumbing down of society is very real. The mass chemical lobotomization of our fellow human beings is very, very real. The best way for the UN to achieve its goal is and will always be their ability to divide us, to create a social narrative that's going to drive us all into micro pockets of uniqueness. So we are not united. And nothing has ever been truer than the statement, united we stand, divided we fall. I think that this was so obvious, so easy to see, but yet our fellow human beings in droves are falling down the rabbit hole of deception and believing this bullshit. Bullshit, like there is some sort of rise in neo-Nazism and white supremacy. I find it kind of unusual that ethnic groups other than Caucasian people are always referred to as the ethnic minorities. Just going to give you guys a heads up. Caucasian people globally only make up 9% of the global population, and Aryan people, blonde-haired, blue-eyed people, only make up 1%. Radicalized feminism would like us to believe that men are really trying to destroy women and oppress them. Now, I'm a Canadian woman. There is absolutely no need for me to get up with a blowhorn and start screaming, I need equal rights, because as a Canadian woman, I have equal rights. I'm 56 years old. I have worked my entire life, and I do not have one personal example of where I felt oppressed by a man. We've got our fellow members of the human race joining groups like Antifa, demanding that communism is the way to go because, hell, Stalin was such a champ. We've got people screaming that Donald Trump needs to bomb North Korea. Now, I don't know if anyone else is aware of this, but there are actual human beings, hard-working men and women that love each other and love their children, living in North Korea. There are people out there that actually want you to believe that if you don't want your nation to look like a third world hellhole, well, you're a racist. What we're looking at is narcissism on the grandest scale. We're looking at a clusterfuck of absolute soul-dead maniacs who truly do believe that humanity is just too stupid to manage its own affairs. Therefore, we should be eliminated. Now, the best way, of course, to attack humanity is to dissolve the family. And believe me, there is much talk about the diminishment of the family structure, not just here in the West, but all over the world. And this is one of the focal points of the agendas. How do you diminish the family? Well, you create an enemy. Diminishing the role that men play as fathers certainly is a way to do that. Radicalized feminists want you to believe that fathers are so unimportant that they're actually trying to have Father's Day abolished. They also want to blur the lines between traditional family roles that men and women play. And I did a video recently called Narcissism and MGTOW, and there was if you had the displeasure of reading that thread, holy crap, that was something. But there was one comment there, and it said men should be allowed to be men and women should be allowed to be women. And I've really been thinking about that a lot over the last couple of days. There are a tremendous amount of comments like, fuck you, slut, whore, cunt, bitch. Now, additional comments like, we're never coming back. Cool your jets, boys, okay? I'm not looking for a husband. I'm going to speculate, based on all the MGTOW videos that I've watched, that these men have been victimized by female narcissists. Now, there is a concept, a theory out there that more men are narcissistic than women. And you know what? For the last 3 days, I've been doing a tremendous amount of research trying to prove that fact, and there is no evidence to support that whatsoever. At this point, I really would like to retract my statement that more men are narcissistic than women, because that is what statistics are showing. But I beg to differ that now, and I do believe that female narcissism may be more rampant. I'd like to thank the members of MGTOW that left comments under that video. You've certainly opened my eyes. I really didn't realize the problem was this widespread. I will admit that I'm single, I'd like to say by choice, but it really is the result of the narcissistic abuse. Newfound distrust, almost paranoia in people, and that saddens me. I'd like to think that if I made a decision like that, that would be based on, true personal preference, but looking at it, I think it really is the result of the abuse, and therefore I'm still being manipulated. Part 2 coming right up.